Well, what is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. On the table in front of us, we have a Liong Mah knife. This is the Eraser, and this was sent to the channel by Thai Addiction, a friend of mine named Chris, who runs the Thai Addiction channel. I will put a link to his channel in the description. If you haven't checked out his work, you should. He has got fantastic knives. And he's also a very generous person, willing to send them along so that people like me can check out something like this and share it with you, which is very nice. Now, Liong Mah makes a bunch of really interesting knives. He tends to lean into the sort of kitchen duty design, which means his knives are very multi-purpose and something I enjoy quite a bit. I don't have a lot of personal experience with them. They're very expensive, and I have always had other things that sort of reached out to me. However, this thing is right in my wheelhouse. And let's take a look at why. First, it's beautiful, right? That carbon fiber, the titanium. It's got a very nice sort of stylized pocket clip that is reasonably deep carry, not too much, not too bad. It's got a little bit of jimping back here on the back of the knife, and a lanyard tube, in case you want to lanyard this thing up. It's got just about a full body backspacer, which is milled and really beautiful. The closed profile on this knife is gorgeous, and it is big. Closed, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full inches long. This is a significant piece of knife hardware, which is why it is so in my wheelhouse. And then there's the blade. I love this knife. It is gorgeous, and it's got this big, long, thinly ground chunk of M390 up here that is designed in such a way that you can get it down on the knife without busting your knuckles up too bad, because that is the way that Liong Mah does stuff. It has a deployment hole as well as a flipper, and both work absolutely flawlessly. Everything is knocked down. There are no sharp edges except right where you want one. Now, these are $400 and up. My understanding is they're made by Riot. I could be wrong, and of course, if I'm wrong, somebody can correct me down in the comments. But that is my understanding, and Riot makes fine knives, just beautiful stuff. This is a bolster lock, as you can see, because of the way the carbon fiber climbs up here. It has a hardened steel insert. We're running just about 40% lockup. Now, this is Chris over at Thai Addiction's personal knife, and it is centered beautifully. The hardware is minimalist. I like that. There's a couple of screws holding the carbon fiber together, and an extra screw back here for the pocket clip. The pivot is really attractive, and I think that's very cool. In a world of just sort of flat, round pivots, looks like Liong has put a little bit of style into this one. The jimping on the top of the blade is long enough. It's not super sharp or anything, but it's long enough that kind of no matter where you want to grab this knife, you get some purchase from that, which is a really nice feature. It has a very large sharpening choil, which is more than enough to get your finger up if you're doing really fine, like whittling style work. And the way that the blade is sharpened away from this area means that you're not putting yourself at risk. You don't want to stab anything this way. Your finger will slip forward. But if you're holding it like this and you are cutting against something, shaving stuff, this works beautifully. The ergonomics on this knife are spectacular. Even though it's got this sort of forced shape for your hand, my giant hand fits beautifully in that. And I suppose if you had very small hands, this backspace might not work so well for you. But for me, man, this thing fits beautifully. It is sharp enough at the tip. It's got a little bit of swedge right here, which is quite beautiful, right, along this long, thin line. So it is stabby if you need it to be. But generally speaking, for everyday sort of EDC tasks, including everything and up to into the kitchen, this is a remarkably well sorted out knife. And for $400-something, it better be. No question. But yeah, I may have to look into finding one of these along the road somewhere. Let's get the basic specs out of the way. All right, you get 1, 2, 3, and 3/4 of cutting. 1, 2, 3, and 3/4 of cutting on 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4¼ inches of M390. Wow. The way this blade is shaped out, it was just kind of hard for me to narrow that down. But yeah, you're a little over 4 inches of overall blade. From behind the flipper, you get 1, 2, 3, 3.5, dead even 3.5 inches of grip. Out to the back, almost 5 inches. As I said, closed. This is a 5-inch knife. The overall knife in length, it's just, I love this thing. It's huge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 full inches overall. Man, that is just a joy. And look at this crushed carbon fiber. I mean, man, this is really a beautiful knife. And again, that action is so good. Just smooth, glassy. Let's do some size comparisons, even though I don't have anything on the table that is nearly this big. Here it is against the Flash AT from SOG, which is a reasonably large knife and, of course, is small in comparison to the Liong Mah Eraser here. Here it is against the Ritter Hogue, which is another full-size knife. And, of course, the Eraser is much bigger. And here it is against the Bug Out, just because I think it's funny. Yep. The Eraser is a sword compared to the Bug Out. And a beautiful one. I mean, this is... this knife is ridiculous. Oh. I got to tell you, I think the only reason I don't have one of these is because there wasn't one on the table at Blade Show East last year. There just wasn't. If one of these had been on the table when I was in a place to buy knives like this, I would have. Because it's gorgeous. Chris, my man, you are hard on my wallet. I'll tell you what. God, this is beautiful. Let's get some other specs out of the way. Let's weigh it out. It doesn't feel very heavy, and for a 9-inch knife, I'll bet it is not going to be. We're having a bit of a glare problem today. Can you guys... There we go. .5 ounces for a 4-inch blade. This is a well-sorted big knife. It's really good. Now, part of that is that it is not a massively thick chunk of M390 while I throw things around on the table. Let's take a look. We are at 3.6 millimeters worth of M390, which is not terrifically thick, and because it is a high flat grind, man, it comes down to a razor blade down here. And the handle itself, 12.6 millimeters, we're going to come in just under a 1/2 inch. It is really comfortable and really beautiful, and they are available right now on Blade HQ for $440-something. If you are interested in a really well thought out, very EDC useful collector level knife, because this is not an insignificant amount of money, the Liong Mah Eraser here is one hell of an option, and I absolutely recommend it if you're looking for something that is this expensive and sort of this crazy. If you aren't, you know, whatever. We all got a chance to look at it together. I don't have one, and I'm not going to have one anytime soon. But maybe you are. You know, let me know down in the comments. Is this the kind of thing that you find yourself leaning into, or is it just insane because of the price? You tell me how you feel about it. I'd love to hear from you. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Chris. Once again, folks, go check out Tie Addiction. I will again put a link in the description. Thank you so much, Chris, for this knife. If you have not subscribed to my channel or his, please do so. We'd love to have you on a regular basis. We'll see you next time.